From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, May 31st, the last day of May, and it is feeling a lot like summer. We're looking at possibly having our warmest day of the year today, with highs in the upper 80s to maybe low 90s. Going to have some winds again today, a little breezy out of the south, a lot of sunshine hanging around. So Indianapolis hasn't seen a 90-degree day yet this year. So our warmest day so far has been 89. And along with today's heat, there will be a lot of humidity. A little uncomfortable out there today. Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson is turning his victory on Sunday into a record payday. The Indy 500 victory banquet was last night at the JW Marriott. A total of $16 million was given out for the 33 drivers who participated in the 500. Ericsson took home, of course, the biggest prize. Just his fourth Indy 500, he took home a record $3.1 million. Jimmy Johnson was also honored. He was named Rookie of the Year. The historic West 30th Street Bridge that runs over the White River will shut down. Indy DPW says the bridge will undergo $15.1 million of improvements, including rehabbed walls, a new reinforced arch, safety railings. The detours include 29th Street, Kessler Boulevard, 38th Street, and 30th Street. People will still be able to get to Riverside High School by using White River Parkway. DPW plans to reopen the bridge fully by the fall of 2024. From iTeammate, starting today, a Central Indiana man convicted of a massive financial scam makes his case for freedom. Tim Durham returns to court. In 2012, a jury convicted Durham of cheating investors out of more than $200 million. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Now, Durham's hoping to vacate that sentence, saying his lead attorney didn't perform as required. He cites 12 errors made by attorney John Topkins and his legal team. Durham will have 4 days to make his case. Services are starting in Texas for the victims of last week's elementary school shooting. Over the next 2 weeks, funerals are scheduled for the 9 children and 2 adults who were killed at Robb Elementary School. Burial is today for 10-year-old Amory Jo Garza. Family and friends gathered yesterday for visitation. Many people who never knew the girl were there too.
The family was very open to embrace, our support. And we just said, we're praying for you, and this is what community looks like, to come and just provide support, no matter where you are.
Nobody should ever have to go through this hardship, and something that could have very well been avoided is the message, I think.
Monday also marked visitation for Maite Rodriguez, who was also 10 years old. Canada is moving closer to stronger gun laws. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau backs a bill specific to handguns.
Legislation to implement a national freeze on handgun ownership. What this means is that it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada. In other words, we're capping the market for handguns.
The bill would also limit the capacity of rifle and shotgun magazines and outlaw toys that look like real guns. Another advisor to former President Trump faces a subpoena. Peter Navarro says federal prosecutors want him to testify Thursday. They also want records related to Navarro's refusal to testify in front of the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The House voted last month to hold Navarro in contempt of Congress. Navarro is fighting the subpoenas, calling them unlawful. And today, President Biden is set to meet with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell to discuss the inflation crisis. Powell was recently confirmed to another 4 years as chairman of the Fed. He's been criticized for the Fed's slow response to the crisis. The Federal Reserve has signaled aggressive interest rate hikes are coming to address the issue, and Biden is detailing his plan to fight inflation in an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal. He writes that the economy is in recovery mode now and can transition to stable with the right policies. He outlined 3 steps to make that happen, including allowing the Federal Reserve to do its job. Second, make goods more affordable for families by fixing broken supply chains and improving infrastructure. And the last step is reducing the country's federal deficit by reforming the tax code. To the war in Ukraine, Russian forces are unleashing on what the country calls maximum intensity strikes on Ukraine's defenses along the Russia-Ukraine border. A senior Ukrainian official is warning that a military victory against Russia is unlikely if the United States holds back supplies of long-range artillery. The U.S. has provided billions in aid to Ukraine, but President Biden says that kind of weaponry is not in the plans. The European Union is agreeing on a partial ban of Russian oil imports. The European Council chief announced the agreement on Twitter yesterday. It covers upwards of 2/3 of oil imports from Russia. The announcement comes after the Council discussed a sixth package of sanctions against Russia. The sanctions will also ban 3 more Russian state-owned broadcasters, along with sanctioning individuals responsible for war crimes in Ukraine. It also removes Russia's largest bank from the global payment system, SWIFT. EU leaders are expected to meet again today to discuss the bloc's response to Russia's invasion. Authorities in France are calling the death of a journalist in Ukraine a crime. Frederic Leclerc was killed yesterday when shrapnel hit him. He was covering a humanitarian operation. France's president paid tribute to Leclerc, saying he was there to show the harsh reality of Russia's war with Ukraine. The country is demanding an investigation into Leclerc's death. One of the world's most prominent soccer teams now has American owners. A consortium based out of Los Angeles purchased Chelsea from Roman Abramovich. The deal's worth $5 billion. Abramovich is a Russian oligarch whose close ties to Vladimir Putin led to the sports leaders to call for the sale. A spokesperson for the UK government says it'll work now to make sure that proceeds from the sale go towards humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. The national average for regular gasoline rose to a fresh record of $4.62 a gallon Monday. It's according to AAA. That's up by a penny from Sunday and 44 cents more expensive than a month ago. Gas prices are up sharply from last Memorial Day when they were $3.05 a gallon. AAA says the current average price for gas in Indianapolis is $4.54. Debate has already started over the 2023 Farm Bill, and both progressive and conservative activists told The Hill it will focus heavily on climate change and sustainability. But outside a few key areas, the two groups have very different visions of sustainability. The Memorial Day holiday travel season brought a lot of frustration for travelers at the airport as many airlines delayed or canceled flights. Nearly 7,000 flights were canceled due to weather, staffing issues, or air traffic actions. Delta Airlines canceled the most flights among major U.S. airlines. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.